The gallery lights cast harsh shadows across my photographs, each image a silent accusation of everything my family refused to see. I adjusted the final piece, a stark black and white portrait of abandonment captured in an empty playground swing moving in the wind. Perfect metaphor for my life, really. They're not coming, are they? Sophie's voice carried across the empty exhibition space. My best friend already knew the answer, but she needed me to say it. I checked my phone again. No missed calls, no messages, just a 2-word text from Mom sent hours ago. Meeting running late. Of course not, I said, pocketing the phone. Mother dearest has an important case, and Dad's probably saving someone's life, or maybe they're both at Ryan's latest tech launch, or Evan's real estate thing. Take your pick. Sophie squeezed my shoulder. Millie, you've worked too hard to let them ruin this. The Times critic is coming. This could be huge for you. I'm Millie Thompson, eldest child, and perpetual disappointment to my high-achieving family. Tonight was supposed to be different. My first solo exhibition, the culmination of years of struggle and determination. I'd even named it Family Portraits, a not-so-subtle dig at the people who should have been here. The gallery door chimed. My heart jumped, but it was just Jake, my boyfriend, carrying a bouquet of wildflowers. His musician's salary couldn't afford roses, but these meant more anyway. He took one look at my face and knew. They're assholes, he said simply, handing me the flowers. Language, dear, came a familiar voice. Grandma Rose appeared behind him, her silver hair immaculate as always. Though in this case, I agree with the sentiment. Grandma, you shouldn't have come all this way. Nonsense, I wouldn't miss my granddaughter's triumph. She surveyed the room with sharp eyes. Though I see your parents are maintaining their perfect record of absence. The first guests started arriving. Critics, gallery owners, local artists, all the right people. I plastered on my professional smile and played hostess, but every time the door opened, I couldn't help looking. Hoping. An hour in, my phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Sorry, sis, Mom and Dad are at my investor meeting. Huge deal. You understand, right? I did understand. I understood perfectly. The critic from the Times praised my raw emotional honesty and unflinching examination of familial disconnect. If he only knew. As the evening wound down, Grandma Rose pulled me aside. There's something you should know, dear. About your brother's success. She hesitated, then pressed an envelope into my hand. Look at these when you're alone, and remember, you're stronger than they think. I slipped the envelope into my bag, questions burning in my throat, but Grandma Rose just kissed my cheek and left, her perfume lingering like a promise. Later that night, after Jake had gone home and Sophie had helped clean up, I sat alone in my small apartment. The envelope contained bank statements, investment reports, emails. My hands shook as I read them. Everything. My brother's companies, their success, their perfect lives, built on lies and stolen money. Our parents had orchestrated it all, funneling millions into their ventures, while telling me I needed to learn independence. I looked at my phone. Another text from Mom. Sorry we missed it. Dinner next week? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop and began planning my next exhibition. This one wouldn't be subtle. This one would show exactly who my family really was, in perfect, high-resolution detail. They wanted a successful daughter. Fine. I'd give them one they'd never forget. The first light of dawn was creeping through my windows when I finally went to bed. My dreams full of shattered family portraits and the sweet taste of revenge. The documents from Grandma Rose's envelope spread across my coffee table like a roadmap of betrayal. Each statement showed another investment in my brother's ventures. Hundreds of thousands funneled through shell companies and creative accounting. I'd spent 3 days analyzing every detail, my camera gathering dust in the corner. My phone buzzed. Mother's weekly guilt trip right on schedule. Darling, you missed Sunday dinner again. The boys asked about you. I bet they did. Probably worried what else Grandma Rose had told me. The buzzer rang. Jake right on time with coffee and his usual optimism. Got your favorite, he said, setting down 2 cups. He glanced at the papers. Still digging. Look at this, I said, holding up a document. $2 million to Ryan's tech startup through a holding company. Same day Mom told me they couldn't help with my gallery rent because they were teaching me financial responsibility. Jake settled beside me, his guitar-calloused fingers brushing mine. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with a text from Evan. Big family announcement tonight. Mom insists you come. No excuses. Perfect timing, I muttered, showing Jake the message. You're not actually going, are you? I started gathering the documents. Oh, I'm going, with my camera. The Thompson family estate loomed like a modern fortress, all glass and sharp angles. Mother's Mercedes and father's Audi sat in their usual spots, alongside Ryan's Tesla and Evan's Range Rover. My beat-up Volkswagen looked like a stray dog that had wandered into a purebred show. Inside, the usual performance was in full swing. Mother holding court in her designer dress, father checking his phone for surgical consults, the Golden Boys commanding attention like twin conductors of an orchestra. Millie, Evan's voice carried that familiar false warmth, finally decided to grace us with your presence. Wouldn't miss it, I said, patting my camera bag. Documenting family moments is kind of my thing now. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. About your exhibition, we really meant to. Save it, I cut him off, watching Mother's expression tighten. I'm sure your investor meeting was far more important. Father finally looked up from his phone. Speaking of investments, your brothers have some exciting news. Of course they did. We're merging companies, Ryan announced. Tech meets real estate, revolutionary concept. With a significant investment from Mom and Dad, Evan added, beaming. I couldn't help myself. Through Cayman Holdings Limited, or are you using the Singapore Shell Company this time? The room went silent. Mother's wine glass froze halfway to her lips. What exactly are you implying? Father's voice had that dangerous edge he used with difficult patience. I pulled out my camera, snapping a quick shot of their faces. Just documenting the moment, for my next exhibition. I'm thinking of calling it Family Finances. Has a nice ring to it. That's enough, Mother snapped. If you're just here to cause trouble. Trouble? I laughed, the sound sharp as broken glass. Like the trouble of falsifying investment documents, or the trouble of systematic financial manipulation to keep your eldest child dependent while funneling millions to your precious sons. Ryan stood up. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I took another photo, capturing his panic. The question is, will your investors understand when they see the evidence? Evidence? Father's voice wavered slightly. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through the documents. Amazing what a determined photographer can capture. Every transaction, every shell company, every lie. I looked directly at Mother. How do you think your law firm will react to this kind of creative accounting? You wouldn't dare, she whispered. Watch me. I stood up, gathering my things. Consider this your warning shot. There's more where this came from, and I'm done being the family disappointment. As I walked out, Evan called after me. Millie, wait, we can explain. I turned back one last time, raising my camera. Click. The perfect shot of a family facade cracking under pressure. In my car, hands shaking, I called Jake. How'd it go? He asked. They know, I said, starting the engine. And this is just the beginning. Be careful, he warned. Wounded animals are the most dangerous. I smiled, thinking of the photos I'd just taken. Good thing I've got plenty of evidence to protect myself. And this time, I'm the one calling the shots. Grandma Rosa's hands trembled as she laid out more documents on her antique dining table. Your mother thought I was too old to understand modern banking, she said, sliding another folder toward me. She forgot I managed your grandfather's investment firm for 30 years after his death. The morning sun through her bay windows cast shadows across photographs of my brother's groundbreaking ceremonies, press conferences, product launches, all carefully orchestrated lies. There's something else. Grandma Rose said, her voice dropping. She pulled out a weathered envelope. Your college fund, the one they claimed was lost in bad investments. My throat tightened. What about it? It wasn't lost, they transferred it to Ryan's first startup, every penny. The room spun slightly. Those years of working 3 jobs between classes, eating ramen, selling my first camera to make rent, all while they had my money. My phone buzzed. Ryan, we need to talk, alone. They're scared, Grandma Rose observed, watching my face. Good. I met Ryan at his favorite overpriced cafe, where he'd already claimed the most private corner table. His usual confidence had cracked, revealing something I rarely saw. Fear. Whatever you're planning, he said, you need to stop. Or what? You'll tell Mom and Dad? Pretty sure they already know. He leaned forward, voice low. You don't understand what's at stake. It's not just about the money. Then enlighten me. The merger. It's not what we're telling people. We're in trouble, Millie. Deep trouble. If this goes public, you mean if your fraud goes public? It's not that simple. His fist hit the table, making heads turn. He lowered his voice again. Evan's real estate deals, my tech contracts, they're all connected. If one falls, everything falls, I finished, including Mom and Dad. He nodded miserably. They mortgaged everything to keep us afloat. The house, their retirement, everything. And whose fault is that? The words came out sharp as broken glass. They chose their golden boys. Now they can watch them fall. Please, Ryan's voice cracked. We can make this right. Cut you in, whatever you want. I pulled out my camera, capturing his desperate expression. What I want is 34 years of truth, starting with this. My phone buzzed again. Evan this time. Mom's in the hospital. Heart attack. Come quick. Ryan's phone lit up with the same message. Our eyes met across the table. Convenient timing, I said, standing. Jesus, Millie, this isn't a manipulation. She's our mother. At the hospital, Father paced the waiting room in his surgical scrubs. For once, not the one in control. Evan huddled with his wife in the corner. The perfect family portrait, cracking at the edges. She was reviewing some financial documents. Father said, his voice hollow, then collapsed in her office. I felt the weight of my camera bag heavy with evidence. What documents? His eyes met mine, understanding dawning. You're really going to do this? Destroy everything we built? You mean everything you built for them? I nodded toward my brothers. Well, teaching me about financial responsibility with money you stole from me. We did what we thought was best. Best for who? A doctor emerged and everyone tensed. She's stable, he announced, but needs rest, no stress. You hear that, Millie? Evan said. No stress, back off. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through the documents. Funny how stress works. Like the stress of working through college because your college fund mysteriously vanished. Or the stress of watching your younger brothers get millions while you can barely make rent. This isn't the time, Father warned. It never is. I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Dad, you might want to check Mother's office. I sent copies of everything to her partners at the firm. Let's see how her heart handles that. In the parking lot, I called Jake. How bad? He asked. Mother's playing the heart attack card, but I found out about my college fund. A pause. What are you going to do? I watched through the hospital windows as my family huddled together, excluding me even now. I'm going to finish what they started. It's time everyone saw the real Thompson family portrait. Be careful, Jake said. You're playing with fire. Good thing I've got plenty of evidence to fireproof myself with. I started my car. And Jake, thank you for being on my side. Always, he said softly. Just make sure this revenge doesn't burn you too. But as I drove away from the hospital, I knew it was too late for warnings. The fire was already burning, and I intended to watch it all go up in flames. The gallery buzzed with anticipation as I hung the final piece, a massive photograph of my brother's merger announcement, overlaid with transparent copies of their fraudulent financial documents. Art meets evidence, the perfect centerpiece for my new exhibition, Family Values. Sophie touched my arm. Channel 8 is here, and the Business Journal. Right on schedule. I adjusted the lighting, making sure every detail was visible, every lie exposed. My phone vibrated. Evan. I let it go to voicemail, like I had with the previous 12 calls from my family. The exhibition opening was in 30 minutes. Let them see it with everyone else. Jake appeared with coffee, his face tight with concern. Security's in place. Your family won't be able to shut this down. They can try. I checked my watch. Where's Grandma Rose? Here, darling. She emerged from the crowd, elegant as always. Though I'm afraid we have company, Mother's legal team filed in, led by her senior partner, Harrison Wells. All tailored suits and predatory smiles. Miss Thompson, Harrison approached, brandishing papers. We have a cease and desist order. I took a photo of him holding the documents. Perfect for the collection. On what grounds? Defamation, invasion of privacy, corporate espionage. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation, I quoted, remembering Mother's frequent boast. And everything here is true, isn't it, Harrison? Including the documents showing how your firm helped cover up their fraud. His smile faltered. Behind him, several reporters perked up, scenting blood. You're making a mistake, he warned quietly. Your mother is still recovering from her convenient heart attack. Funny how that happened right when... Millie, Ryan's voice cut through the crowd. He stood with Evan at the gallery entrance, both looking exhausted. Please, don't do this. I raised my camera. Click. Too late. The exhibition opened. Crowds moved through the space, murmuring at the evidence displayed alongside artistic photographs capturing years of familial manipulation. Financial documents became abstract patterns. Bank statements transformed into damning poetry. A reporter approached. Miss Thompson, these allegations against Thompson Technologies and Evans Development are all supported by documentation, I finished, pointing to the wall of evidence, including proof that they stole my college fund to launch their first ventures. More reporters gathered. Questions flew, cameras flashed. Then Father arrived, looking older than I'd ever seen him. You've made your point, he said quietly. Name your price. I laughed. My price? You think this is about money? Then what do you want? The truth, all of it, starting with why. A commotion at the entrance interrupted us. Mother stormed in, ignoring her doctor's orders, face flushed with fury or exertion, or both. You ungrateful, she started, then clutched her chest. Father rushed to her side, but she waved him off, straightening. If you think this little stunt will what? I challenged. Expose how you built your precious sons' careers by stealing from me. Show everyone the real Thompson family values. We gave you everything, she exploded. We taught you independence while they what? Needed coddling, millions in secret funding, my money. The gallery had gone silent, everyone watching our family implode in real time. Phones recorded. Reporters scribbled. You don't understand, Mother said, her voice breaking. We had to protect them. They're not like you, they're not strong enough to... She stopped, realizing what she'd admitted. In front of everyone, Ryan and Evan stared at her, their perfect world cracking. I raised my camera one last time, capturing the moment their golden pedestals crumbled. Thank you, Mother. That's exactly what I needed. As security escorted my family out, Jake squeezed my hand. You okay? I watched the reporters swarm, the social media posts multiply, my family's carefully constructed facade dissolving in real time. No, I admitted, but I will be. Grandma Rose appeared beside me. It's not over, you know. They'll fight back. Let them. I surveyed my work. Truth transformed into art, secrets exposed in beautiful, damning detail. I've got nothing left to lose. But as the night wore on and the story spread, I wondered if that was really true, and if the price of revenge would be higher than even I was prepared to pay. The media circus exploded faster than I'd anticipated. 3 days after my exhibition, Thompson Technologies stock plummeted 60%. Evan's real estate empire faced multiple fraud investigations. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with reporters seeking comments. I scrolled through the headlines on my laptop. Thompson family scandal deepens. Tech prodigy's house of cards. Real estate empire built on stolen dreams. Sophie set down a coffee beside me. Your cousin Andrea called. Says the whole extended family is taking sides. Let me guess which side they're choosing. I closed the laptop, too tired to read more. The satisfaction I'd expected felt hollow, leaving a metallic taste in my mouth. My phone lit up. An unknown number. Miss Thompson, this is Detective Marcus Chen, Financial Crimes Division. We'd like to discuss your evidence against Thompson Technologies. The police. I hadn't expected that. My hand shook as I ended the call. Jake found me in my darkroom later, developing photos from the exhibition opening. Mother's face contorted in rage, father's defeated posture, my brother's crumbling facades. Ryan's wife left him, Jake said quietly, took their kids to her parents' place in Boston. The image in the developer tray slowly revealed itself. Ryan and Evan, looking lost in their expensive suits. For a moment, I saw us as children again, before the money and lies corrupted everything. They made their choices, I said, but my voice wavered. Millie, Jake's tone made me look up. Your father's hospital suspended him. There's talk of a medical board investigation. Good. The word came out automatically, but my stomach clenched. My phone buzzed again. Grandma rose. Turn on Channel 5 now. I rushed to the living room. Mother stood at a podium outside her law firm, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. I am announcing my immediate resignation as senior partner, she said, her voice cracking. The allegations regarding my family's financial dealings are... She collapsed. The cameras caught everything. Father rushing from the crowd, the paramedics, the chaos. Jesus, Jake whispered. My phone exploded with messages. Ryan, are you happy now? Evan, they're admitting her to cardiac ICU. Father, if anything happens to your mother, it's on you. I grabbed my camera bag, heading for the door. Where are you going? Jake called after me. To finish this. The hospital corridor stretched endless and sterile. Through the ICU window, I saw Mother connected to machines, Father holding her hand. I raised my camera, then slowly lowered it. Quite a show you've put on. Evan's voice behind me, bitter as burnt coffee. But did you know about Ryan's kids? His wife found out she's pregnant. Those children will grow up with their father's name destroyed. Like I grew up with nothing. I turned to face him. While you had everything. We had pressure, he exploded. Constant, crushing pressure to succeed, to be perfect. You were the lucky one. You got to be free. Free? I laughed, the sound echoing harshly. Is that what you call working 3 jobs through college? Selling my equipment to make rent? At least you got to fail on your own terms. We never had that luxury. A nurse hurried past, glaring at us. Through the window, Mother stirred, her monitors beeping faster. My phone buzzed, another reporter wanting comments, then a text from Sophie. Police just left your gallery. They're seizing everything as evidence. The walls seemed to close in. What had I started? The DA's office is involved now, Evan said quietly. They're looking at RICO charges, prison time, all of us, including Mom and Dad. I thought of Mother in handcuffs, Father in prison orange, my brothers in jail cells. The Thompson name splashed across headlines for years to come. You wanted revenge, Evan continued. Congratulations. You've destroyed us all. He walked away, leaving me alone in the sterile corridor with my camera and the weight of what I'd set in motion. My phone buzzed again. Grandma rose. Come to my house. There's something you need to see, something that changes everything. I looked one last time through the ICU window. Mother's eyes opened, meeting mine. In that moment, I saw something I'd never expected. Fear. The same fear I felt growing in my own chest as I realized this revenge had taken on a life of its own. And I wasn't sure I could control where it ended. or who it would destroy next. Grandma Rose's hands shook as she pushed a yellowed envelope across her antique coffee table. "I should have shown you this years ago," she said, "but I was afraid of what it would do to you." Inside, I found a suicide note. My grandfather's handwriting, dated 2 days before his heart attack 30 years ago. "He discovered your mother's first financial manipulation," Grandma Rose said quietly. "She was embezzling from his firm to start her law practice. When he confronted her," the words blurred on the page, "my revenge wasn't original at all. I was just repeating family history, right down to the heart attacks." My phone buzzed. Detective Chen again. I ignored it, like I'd ignored the last 6 calls. "Your mother learned from the best," Grandma Rose continued. "She watched how your grandfather's death destroyed our family. And now I'm doing the same thing." The realization hit like a physical blow. My phone lit up with a news alert. Thompson Technologies files for bankruptcy, thousands of jobs at risk. Thousands. Not just my brothers, not just my parents. Thousands of innocent people. Jake called next. "Millie, turn on the news, now." I fumbled for the remote. Ryan stood at a podium, looking haunted. "In light of recent revelations, Thompson Technologies will cease operations effective immediately. Our 4,000 employees..." His voice cracked. "We regret..." He couldn't finish. Evan appeared, supporting him as reporters shouted questions. "What have I done?" The words came out as a whisper. "What you had to," Grandma Rose said, but her voice lacked conviction. My phone exploded with messages. "Sophie, police just left your apartment. They have a warrant." "Jake, don't go home. Come to my place." An unknown number. "Your brother Ryan just attempted suicide. Metropolitan Hospital ER." The room spun. I grabbed my camera bag, running for the door. "Millie, wait!" Grandma Rose called after me. "There's more you need to know." But I was already gone. The hospital corridor stretched endless and white. Through the ER doors, I glimpsed father arguing with doctors, mother sobbing in a chair, despite her own cardiac concerns. Evan paced, phone to his ear, probably talking to lawyers. I raised my camera automatically, then stopped. What was I documenting now? The destruction I'd caused? "Happy now?" Evan spotted me. He took sleeping pills, lots of them, left a note about failing everyone, about the workers losing their jobs, about his kids growing up ashamed. "I never meant..." "You meant exactly this," he snarled. "You wanted us destroyed. Congratulations, mission accomplished." Mother looked up, saw me. The hatred in her eyes made me step back. "Miss Thompson?" Detective Chen appeared beside me. "You need to come with us, now." "What's happening?" "We have evidence suggesting you manipulated some of the financial documents in your exhibition, created false narratives for revenge." "That's impossible. I have proof." "Your proof has been compromised. Your grandmother's testimony." "What?" "She provided evidence that she helped you fabricate documents to destroy your family's reputation. She's already given her statement." The floor seemed to tilt. Grandma Rose had betrayed me? Or had I betrayed myself, so blinded by revenge I couldn't see what was real anymore? Through the ER window, I watched the doctors work on Ryan. Mother's sobs echoed down the corridor. Father's medical career was over. Evan's real estate empire had crumbled. Thousands of innocent employees were jobless. And now, apparently, I was going to jail. My camera felt heavy in my hands. I'd thought I was documenting truth, exposing lies. Instead, I'd become the very thing I hated, someone who destroyed families for personal gain. "Your camera, please." Detective Chen held out his hand. "It's evidence now." I clutched it tighter, my last connection to who I thought I was. "Millie," Jake appeared, breathless from running. "Don't say anything, I called a lawyer." But as I handed over my camera, watching Chen bag it as evidence, I realized no lawyer could fix this. I'd wanted to expose the truth about my family, but the real truth was worse than I'd imagined. I wasn't just like my mother, I was worse. The police station's interrogation room smelled of stale coffee and desperation. Detective Chen spread photographs across the metal table. My exhibition pieces, but different, altered, each one showing evidence of digital manipulation I'd never done. Your grandmother was very thorough, he said, provided timestamps, editing software records, everything. My lawyer touched my arm, warning me to stay silent, but the words burst out anyway. Those aren't my edits. Someone changed them. The door opened. Grandma Rose entered, supported by a police officer, looking frailer than I'd ever seen her. But her eyes, they held something I'd never noticed before, something cold. "Tell her," she said to Chen. "Show her what we found in Theodore Thompson's old files." My grandfather's name hit like a slap. Chen pulled out another file. "Your grandfather didn't commit suicide, Miss Thompson. He was murdered, and we have evidence suggesting your grandmother was involved." The room tilted. "What?" "She's been planning this for 30 years, Chen continued, using you to finish what she started, destroying the Thompson family from within." Grandma Rose's frail facade cracked, revealing steel underneath. "They took everything from me. Your mother, your grandfather. They pushed me out of my own company, made me watch while they built their empire on my work. So you used me?" The words tasted like ash. All of it. The documents, the support, the love. The love was real. Her voice sharpened. "That's why I had to protect you from becoming them. Look what they did to you, what they're still doing. I gave you the weapon you needed. By falsifying evidence, making me think, making you see the truth. They did steal from you, they did favor your brothers, I just enhanced the proof." The door burst open again. Ryan stood there, pale but alive, with Evan and our parents behind him. Mother's face was ash white, father's hands trembled. "Is it true?" Ryan asked. "About grandfather?" Grandma Rose straightened, suddenly looking decades younger. "He chose your mother over me, his own wife, gave her control of everything we'd built together. So yes, I made sure he paid for that betrayal. And I've spent 30 years watching his precious daughter become exactly what he feared. By destroying innocent lives." I stood up, shaking off my lawyer's restraining hand. "Those workers, Ryan's children, everyone hurt by what I did, what you made me do. I didn't make you do anything." Her smile was terrible. "I just gave you the match. You chose to light the fire." "Enough." Mother's voice cracked like a whip. "You wanted to destroy me? Fine. But using my daughter, making her into your weapon, like you used your sons," Grandma Rose countered. "We're not so different, Lily. We both sacrifice family for revenge." The truth hit me then, looking between these two women. I was becoming both of them. Mother's ruthless ambition, Grandma Rose's calculating revenge. The perfect blend of the worst parts of my family legacy. "Detective," I said quietly, "I'd like to make a statement about everything, the real evidence, the false documents, all of it." "Millie, don't," Grandma Rose started. "You taught me about truth, Grandma. Through the lens, remember? So let's show everyone the whole picture." I looked at my family. Mother's tears, father's shame, my brother's broken dreams. Then at Grandma Rose, who'd orchestrated it all through me. "I'm not choosing sides," I said. "I'm choosing truth. The real truth, not your versions of it. And whatever consequences come with that." "You'll lose everything," Grandma Rose warned. I thought of Jake waiting outside, of Sophie's unwavering support, of the person I wanted to be versus the weapon I'd become. "No," I said, "I'm finally finding myself." Detective Chen pushed a recorder forward. Behind him, my family waited, broken but present. Maybe that was the first truth we all needed to face. We were damaged, but we were still here. I took a deep breath and began to speak, letting the real story emerge through the wreckage of all our carefully constructed lies. It wasn't the revenge story Grandma Rose wanted, or the success story Mother dreamed of. It was messier, harder, more honest. It was mine. The courthouse steps felt colder than they should in spring. I adjusted my camera, capturing the morning light as it hit the bronze Lady Justice above the entrance. My last professional photo for a while. The plea deal ensured that. Jake squeezed my hand as we watched Grandma Rose emerge in handcuffs. She looked smaller now, diminished, but her eyes still held that steel when they met mine. The officers helped her into the police car, and just like that, 30 years of calculated revenge ended with a quiet click of car doors. My phone buzzed. Ryan. They're starting the Employee Relief Fund today. Could use your help with the documentation. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something. Inside the courthouse, Mother waited with her own lawyers. The sight of her made my chest tight, but I forced myself to approach. The restitution payments are set up, I said, handing her a folder. Everything I earned from the exhibition plus my savings. It won't fix everything, but... Keep it. She looked older, grayer, but somehow more real than she'd ever been. Use it to rebuild your gallery. The right way this time. Mother, I've spent too many years trying to control my children's lives. She smoothed her jacket, a lawyer's habit. Look where that got us. Through the window, we watched Grandma Rose's police car pull away. 3 generations of Thompson women, each thinking we knew best, each leaving destruction in our wake. She loved you, you know, Mother said quietly. That wasn't a lie. Just like I loved your brothers, and you, even if I showed it wrong. The words hung between us, fragile as camera film. Father and my brothers waited in the corridor, all of us broken in different ways. Evan's real estate empire had crumbled, but he'd started over with a small local firm. Ryan was rebuilding too, focusing on ethical tech investments. Their perfect facades had shattered, revealing something more human underneath. The detective returned this. Father held out my camera, said they don't need it as evidence anymore. I took it, feeling its familiar weight. Through this lens, I tried to expose truth, then twisted it, then finally found it in the wreckage of all our lies. I have something to show you, I said. In my new studio, Annie, but mine, I unveiled the prints I'd been working on. Simple family portraits, Mother's tired smile, Father's worried hands, Ryan's quiet strength as he rebuilt, Evan's humble determination. No manipulation, no agenda, just truth. It's called reconstruction, I explained, if you'll let me show it. They studied the images, seeing themselves through my lens. Not as the perfect family we'd pretended to be, or the monsters we'd become, but as something in between, something real. When's the opening? Ryan asked. You don't have to. We want to, Evan said. This time, we'll be there. Jake appeared in the doorway, guitar case in hand. Ready for rehearsal? I nodded, gathering my camera. My family watched, uncertain of their place in this new reality. Sunday dinner, Mother said suddenly. If you want, both of you. Jake and I exchanged glances. We'll think about it. Outside, spring sunlight caught the edge of my lens, creating prisms. Through it, I saw my family emerging from the studio, damaged, healing, trying. Not perfect, not ruined, just human. You okay? Jake asked as we walked to his gig. I thought of Grandma Rose, of Mother, of the legacy of revenge and control I'd almost continued. Of the difference between exposing truth and creating it. No, I admitted, but I'm getting there. I raised my camera one last time, capturing this moment, not for an exhibition or revenge, but for myself. The light, the shadows, the complex truth of family and forgiveness. The shutter clicked, and I let it tell its own story.